I'm fascinated by the dynamics this Texas Senate race is turning into. This is promising to be, I think, one of the most interesting political contests of maybe the entire decade, both the primary and the general election. And that sounds crazy, but today Jasmine Crockett did what everyone expected her to do, at least in the last 48 or so hours, and formally entered the Texas Senate race, pushing out Colin Allred, who people may remember from the Cruz race just a couple of years ago. So I want to go ahead and start here with Jasmine Crockett's campaign announcement video. This is F4.
How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about
if you're listening to this, it's just a video of Crockett looking into the distance.
Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person.
I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
So again, for the visual, the way that ended was with flashbulbs and Jasmine Crockett dressed in all black crossing her arms. It was the same shot of Crockett the entire way through. Very artsy, Mark. What do you make of Jasmine Crockett entering this race?
First of all, despite your extraordinary powers of description, you were not able to do that video justice because it's bizarro. Emily, a Democrat has not won a statewide office in Texas for over a quarter century. And if you're asking me if Jasmine Crockett will be the Democrat who breaks that streak, the answer is no. Maybe she'll be the nominee. And if she is, the Republicans will rejoice because any of the three Republicans in the Republican primary can beat her, almost certainly. Because, again, there's a profile that's been bandied about for years of the kind of Democrat who could break this 35 or whatever it is, 31-year losing streak to win a statewide office in Texas. And that profile matches not at all with that of Jasmine Crockett.
Well, in some ways, I feel like I'm more interested in this primary matchup than I even am in the general for all of the reasons that you just laid out. And I actually found more video here of Crockett recently. This is just the last couple of hours, I think, formal announcement video. So let's take a listen. When Texas turns blue, she says.
Because of any one candidate, but because of each and every one of you doing your part. Turning Texas blue is what I want to talk to y'all about today. Now, there are those that say, ain't no way, we done tried it 50 kinds of ways. Let me be clear, y'all ain't never tried it the JC way. We used to telling us what I can't do, but they have no idea what Crockett's crew will do. So I just want to be clear for all the haters in the back. Listen up real loud.
That's for you, Mark.
We're going to get this thing done.
I'm a lover, not a hater.
All right. So, obvious cynicism on behalf of Democrats in Texas aside, what does it do for Democrats in 2026? Now that people feel like Trump sort of took Zohran Mamdani off the table, he'll still be used in races in red districts, red states, purple areas as well. But Crockett, I wonder if that's an even more powerful person to tie different Democrats to than Mamdani. I
mean, look, she'll be used by the president and by others, whether she runs or not, whether she's the nominee or not. But she's very liberal. She's very undisciplined as a campaign, force. She's the one who famously said that Lee Zeldin had received a campaign contribution from Jeffrey Epstein, and when it was determined it was Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, a totally different guy, she said, "I didn't say he'd received a campaign donation from the Jeffrey Epstein. I said a Jeffrey Epstein." So I mean, she's not a figure who Democrats want to see succeed for the nomination for most Democrats, because she's got no chance to win a general by the calculations of most people I know. On the other hand, she'll be used either way. And on the other hand, I don't think any of the Democrats who are talked about running or are still running are going to win this seat in this general election unless the Republicans nominate Attorney General Paxton. He might be vulnerable in a general, but I don't believe he'd be vulnerable to her. And I had somebody send me an email today, or text really, said, best day of Ken Paxton's life in a long time, because now his opponents can't use the electability argument to say he shouldn't be the nominee because his electability over Jasmine Crockett, most Republicans think is preordained.
So actually, that's a good point, because I've just sort of been assuming Paxton he's not going to cut it in this race, but that is a heavy assumption. So what is your sense of the GOP side right now?
I still think the president's going to endorse the incumbent, John Cornyn. He's not a MAGA favorite, but he's done a lot to ingratiate himself with the president, including hiring as his consultants some of the president's top political advisors. And I think in the end, Republicans don't want to worry about this race. And if Paxton's the nominee, they'll have to worry about it. They probably won't lose it, but they'd have to worry about it. They just want to bank it. And if Paxton's the nominee, he's going to be reelected. So my spidey sense all along has been the president, despite his close ties with Paxton, will eventually endorse John Cornyn, and he'll win the nomination and win the general.
Well, back to the Dem primary,
Yeah.
I want to ask about, you might not like this, Mark, James Talarico, who I refer to as Timu Richie Cunningham, who, this is a clip I want to play, a sort of, it's a clip that I think does a good job at capturing what Talarico, what his appeal Democratic consultants want to frame as his appeal, I guess is a kind of clumsy way of putting it, but people may remember, went on Joe Rogan. He had that back and forth about the 10 Commandments in the classroom. I think he went to seminary. And here's a little snippet from Talarico on a podcast recently.
My granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas, and he told me when I was real little that we follow a barefoot rabbi. That's how he called it. And that barefoot rabbi gave us 2 commandments: love God and love neighbor. Because there is no love of God without love of neighbor, is how he put it. And my church, when I was growing up, always really emphasized our love for our neighbors, the need to take our faith from the sanctuary to the streets, to act, right? In the same way that labor organizers put their faith into action, the way civil rights marchers put their faith into action, the way farm workers put their faith into action. That was always the emphasis, which it's no wonder I went into public service, first as a public school teacher and then as a public official. It's all motivated by that commandment to love my neighbor as myself. I try to love my neighbor through public policy.
All right, Mark, what do you make of that?
On the one hand, I get what all the fuss is about. On the other hand, I don't get what all the fuss is about. If you take him on paper,
right,
he's a very compelling figure for the Democrats, a young, dynamic, progressive of faith who can talk the owls down from the trees and looks purty and seems to combine steel and softness. On the other hand, it's a subjective thing. I just think his capacity to, again, break the Democrats' 30-year losing streak in Texas, I don't think it's quite there based on his appeal and what I think is a press corps that's fallen overly in love with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he reminds me a bit of like MJ Hagar and some of those other candidates. His ads have been fantastic, and they're taking stuff that works on paper and hoping that he's able to carry that message. But the reason I'm fascinated by this primary is that you have the Crockett figure who represents, she's not an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Democratic socialist. I mean, actually, Talarico on policy stuff, I'll be curious to see how this shakes out because he might have a case for being more Bernie aligned than Crockett does when it comes out in the wash. But she's the sort of Jennifer Welch candidate. We're going to talk about Welch in just one moment, but the anti-norms Democratic candidate. He is the restore the norms Democratic candidate with a sort of Bernie policy flair. So it's a weird dynamic.
Well said. Well said. I mean, I want to see sort of how they do when they start to engage with each other. How they draw the contrast, how much attention is focused on them as combatants. It'll be interesting to see. But again, I think you're going to find, for all the kind of bright, shiny object nature of the two of them, that it's going to be hard for either of them to win the general election.
If you've ever noticed those creepy ads that pop up on your phone and they seem to know exactly where you've been, what you've bought, even what you've been talking about, you've probably asked yourself, is my phone monitoring me? Yes, is the answer to that. Your instinct is correct. The truth is your smartphone is constantly collecting and leaking data without your knowledge or your consent. Every day it builds a detailed profile of your life, your information, your location, your habits, your interests. even the people you communicate with. That information is then funneled into an invisible marketplace where it's tracked, analyzed, and sold to the highest bidder, which, by the way, sometimes is the government itself. Keep that in mind. And it's not just annoying, it's invasive. It's happening all the time. But the Up Phone by Unplugged, I have it right here in my hand, you can see what it looks like, is different. It's designed to protect your privacy from the ground up. No hidden trackers, no data mining, just a secure, streamlined smartphone experience that puts you back in control. Whether you're texting, browsing, or using apps, the Up Phone ensures your personal information stays personal. It's the phone for people who are done being watched. And I have to say, when you start using this thing, it is so slick. So if you're ready to take back your digital privacy, visit unplugged.com/Emily and get $25 off a phone case with the purchase of a phone. Learn more and order your Up Phone today. And again, this is my Up Phone right here in my hands. And it's unplugged.com/Emily. That's where you can learn more. That's the link. You can order your Up Phone there. Unplugged.com/Emily, because your life should be yours and not theirs.